congratulations on the win. Just wanted to
Thank you.
get your overall thoughts on this one, and obviously maybe some frustrations let out after the win.
I just played to the crowd, you know. Yeah, I think goals change games. I think if we'd have got the second one in the first half, which we had chances to, or at any point, I think the game dies. The longer we didn't get that, they started to get into the game more. And I think one of the things that we've got to grow as a team about, and maybe Portland's like a really unique situation because of the rivalry, but I do think it's the same in the league, is I thought we played brilliantly against Orlando on both sides of the ball. And then I think tonight we tried to overplay in moments, and that gave them opportunities to win the ball back off us and keep their momentum going. Where with the personnel we have in those moments, for me, we could like be a little bit more pragmatic, put the ball in areas where they can't continue their attack or regain their attack. And I think that's some of the growth that we've got to look at as a team. But I thought we had some standout performances. I thought Claudia was excellent. I thought Sam Mazer again was very good, and was great next to her. I thought of all the front line, the ones that started and came on, worked so hard. But I think if I'm in that front line and I know, you know, the two that were just sat here, I know my traits, I would be grabbing our group and saying, just put it behind them, I'll run, you know. And maybe it's time, you know, we need time. First, obviously, game Lynn's been able to start. But obviously, overall, really happy that we got a clean sheet, really happy that we were able to get the win. It always feels great winning at home. And yeah, you know, a lot's made about the rivalry. I think the biggest thing about the rivalry is, one, it's really respectful. But there's things about it that both teams are going to love, right? You heard Becky Sabrin the other day. They're going to chant, build a bonfire and put us on top of it. We're going to get some roses and smash them about a little bit. And I think that's what makes it great. As long as we can come off the field and all know that it's all in the spirit of the rivalry, you know. Because there's really good players on both sides. I have a lot of respect for Rob. And yeah, I think it's a respect thing, that we can go at each other the way that we do. And it's organic and it's real, and that's what I love about it.
I know we've talked to you about Lynn a lot, but Maddie was just in here and she said that, you know, she can affect this club in a lot of different ways, not just when she's playing. What have you seen from how she's been able to maybe impart wisdom or, you know, just impact your group outside of, you know, being on the field the last two matches?
Yeah, she's a leader, you know, and I think she realised the moment she came into the team that there was a place for that. It was needed, you know. I think I've spoke about this before. I think when Pino left, you know, the Lou, Jess and Pino trio, there was a little void missing in that. And I feel like Lynn's filled it in a really positive way. And not just in how she acts, but how she encourages others to be too. And with the group that we have, and obviously a lot of the ones that are a little bit inexperienced right now, she helps them so much, and has really empowered Jess and Lou to do the same. And I think that that's going to be crucial for us moving forward.
I wanted to ask first.
Cool top.
Thank you.
That's pretty sweet.
I wanted to ask first, Coco came off a little hobbled around the 60th minute. Do you have any updates on her?
I don't really. I think it's muscular, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. Okay,
and then you mentioned Haz's performance. I feel like we've seen so much more, just so many more good things from her this season. Yeah. I'm particularly thinking the ball in behind to Lynn for that particular chance.
Possible, yeah.
Just can you talk a bit about what you've seen from her in terms of season over season improvement to get to the point that we're seeing her like this season? Yeah, honestly, I say this all the time, you know, like we've been blessed at this club to have some really good internationals who fit in immediately. Jess, Kim Little, you know, list goes on. For some internationals, it takes a minute. I think G's one of them. I think Haz is one of them. Like getting used to the style of play, the pace of play, how intense the games are. It can take a minute,
you know, and I think that has helped having some time. I think secondly, she's got big things to play for right now, you know, big things to show her national team coach that she's ready to do, to go and play in the biggest tournament of her life. So if you can go into that in form, you're setting yourself up for success. So I think I've literally haven't spoken to her about it, but I think that's a big driver for her. I'm sure it is, you know, and we're the beneficiary of that. So great.
All right, we'll take Nico and then Jeff.
So it's the first time we saw Jordan Heitma and Lynn Biondolo starting together.
Yeah.
How do you think they matched up together, and how do you think they changed the game over the course?
Yeah, I just think that's the piece that's going to take time, right? It's just so unfortunate that they both got little niggles when they did, that we haven't, you know, how many games we had? 5? South African? The 5th game is the one that they've been able to get into together, because, you know, this would be the stuff that we'd want to be doing in pre-season. But it is what it is. And I think the more they play together, the more we realise what strengths we have out of them. You know, Jordan's aerial presence is exceptional. Lynn's ability to run in behind is exceptional. That sometimes we don't need to play the pretty football. We can just play up to them and let them do their stuff, you know. And I think that's the little pieces of the nuances of the game I think we've got to learn.
And to talk about a couple subs, we had G coming on and Adames.
Yeah.
They made a pretty big impact from the moment they came on.
Yeah.
Of course, you said that previously that Adames, she's awesome off the bench.
Yeah.
But how do you think, and how well do you think they impacted this game to secure this narrow victory?
Yeah, I think that when they came on, they worked really hard. And I think that's the balance, right? Both Emery and G are going to do really well with the ball. You know, and the balance was, do we need people who are just going to defend, or do we need people that are going to be able to help us going forward? And I think that's the layer for both of them, like really digging in on that defending side and understanding how important that is, that they're needed in these moments. And I think they did a good job of that. They really dug in, because we know their quality when they can get mid to final third, you know, and obviously it's like that balance. Do we keep the 1-0, or can we try and get the second and kill the game off? And they help us to be able to potentially do both. So that was sort of the thought process around that.
How important is it to get points in a situation now where 5 matches in, you've gritted out a couple of victories, gotten a draw at home as well. Now you're getting some tangible results to go with some of these performances as you're establishing a new identity for this team for 2025.
Yeah, I think I said it at the start of this, and I was speaking to the staff about it. I think we played much better last week, but we didn't win. So I think that's the conversation we've got to have. What do we want to be? Do we want to win games and then solve all the little bits and things that we need to get better at? Or do we want to play a certain way and maybe lose? And I think with this team, with the potential that it has, I think playing to win is what we need to look at, and educating ourselves on that and how we do that's going to be important, because if we do that, I think then we can play the style we want if we do all the little things right, which we got away with a few tonight. So I think that's the next layer for us. How do we sort of like marry the two, playing the way style that we want, whilst also recognising that some games just aren't about that. And it wasn't that tonight. It wasn't that type of game. And I think we sort of got away with a little bit of that as the game went on. But, you know, the best time to be able to really talk about that's when you win.
So, Laura, you mentioned there were some things that need to be cleaned up, obviously, like any match. Yeah. It was like, I think it was around like the 66th or the 70th. Portland was starting to pile on the pressure a little bit. I looked down on the sideline, and you were making a big sweeping gesture with your right hand.
Probably.
What were you telling the squad in that moment?
I was probably having a heart attack. I would guess get up the field. You know, I think we were really deep. And I think, you know, I'll give you one nuance I think we have to get better at. We have to decide, are we clearing the ball? If we're clearing it, put it in row Z. If we're playing, pass it to someone. We get caught in between and we give them the ball back 30 yards from goal and their attack continues. And like I said to the staff, we need to do 20 minutes on just the ball bouncing and whacking it. You know, as silly as that sounds, right? Just the nuances of the game that when you get experience and when you've lived losing off things like that, you learn from it. I'd prefer us to learn from it when we win. So probably that. You know me, I'm crazy. So
Claudia looked like she was getting kind of nicked up a little bit throughout the game. Did you ever consider taking her out, or did her game-saving play kind of like force your hand to make sure that she stayed in there?
Yeah, one of them, which I think she played long and either rolled her ankle or got clipped, I'm not sure. And the one when she came out and claimed it, I think she like cricked her neck a little bit. But no, I mean, we were ready. Cassie was ready. But Claudia was fine to continue. And I always get accused of getting the goalkeeper to go down when they're not injured, which we don't do actually. But yeah, she had a few, and she had to at times stand on her head. So that athleticism can feel painful. So I think you saw that tonight. But yeah, thankfully I think she's okay.
Okay, we'll take Charles and then one more from Nico before you.
So with her assist on Maddie's goal, Lynn tied the league's all-time assist record.
With who?
Sophia
Huerta.
Can you just speak? I know that we're talking about getting her in behind, and obviously being the league's leading goal scorer is big. But can you speak to her playmaking ability as well, just with that record?
Well, I think those two stats alone say so much about her, right? Like, not many people have goals and assists at that level. So I think the recognition she needs is that her ability to be able to stretch games will either give her the chance to score goals or give her the chance to be able to get someone else to score. And she's been doing this ever since she walked into this league. And we felt, unfortunately, the other side of it. And I can't wait to continue this journey with her and her to be on our team.
During the goal celebrations, saw that Maddie ran over to you for a big hug. Of course, a beautiful moment, her first club professional goal.
Yeah.
How was that feeling on the bench? What were the conversations, especially after the match between the two of you?
Yeah, she actually didn't hug me, but she hugged someone. And honestly, I think the thing for Maddie, which you guys have seen, is she's had those chances in the Fit 5 games, right? And all we're doing as a collective, staff and players, is just continue to encourage her to keep doing it. And knowing it would come. We knew this kid's going to score goals. And if in those moments she's fearful that by taking that chance and she doesn't score, people are going to be on it. No, it's the opposite. Keep doing it. It's going to come. It's going to come. It's going to come. And yeah, just so happy for her that she got that break.
All right, we'll take a couple on Zoom. Blake, go ahead.
What's happening, Blake? Oh, you muted. Oh, can't hear you, mate.
Do we have the sound on the computer?
Hey, Coach.
There he is.
Hey, Coach. This is Blake Spadaro from Blake's Take and W Swish. How would you grade your team's overall performance tonight?
I think obviously the win's great. I think there's areas we could get better at. I think again we defended the box well a lot. We had to do it a lot too. But I think we can get better in our structure defensively higher up the field to try and prevent that. I think we could get better in, like I've already said, I think turning the opponent and getting the ball in behind them to relieve some pressure. I think we can do better at that. But just really proud of the players that they dug in and got the result.
And how would you assess the team's level of communication during the game as well?
It's hard for me to hear because, one, it's loud, and two, I'm normally shouting. But that's a conversation that we have a lot, is we're quite young and inexperienced, and that comes with people not really feeling like they have the voice. So we're really trying to work on empowering players to get after each other a little bit and communicate and talk and really decide what they want the game to be. So I think it's something that we need to continue to work on.
Thank you, Coach.
No worries, mate.
Thanks, Blake. And then we'll take one last one from Rowie.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for your time here. I just wanted to ask about the moments right after the final whistle blew. I know the folks over at the women's game, after you chatted with them, said they had a good idea of what you were probably screaming. I saw also you throwing the roses. I just want to know what was going through your head when the whistle blew, and that sort of a little bit of color, if you've got it, from celebrating this big rivalry win.
Relief, probably. I don't think I said anything other than like, yes, thank you. that was great. I think relief was the big E for me. And yeah, look, the roses thing, it's not to be anything about being disrespectful. It's actually a respect thing that this rivalry runs deep, always has. And again, I think for our fans, seeing us beat Portland at home is a big deal, and they know what that means. And I've got no doubt that when we go there, they're going to make it as hostile as possible for us. And hand out roses, and that's the rivalry. They love roses, we don't. So, I don't know how else to talk about it. And again, I don't want anyone to think it's about being disrespectful. It's actually the complete opposite. It's complete and utter respect for the opponent and what they've done and what they continue to do as a club and what this rivalry means to both teams. So, it means everything. I said it before. I circle this game anytime I get the schedule, it's the first game I look for when we're playing Portland at home and when we're playing Portland away, because that's what it means, and that's okay. I think I've lived through a lot of these rivalries. I've lived through rivalries when I coached in England, and it's a performative thing. You want the fans to feel it. You want them to know that you're with them, but there's never disrespect in it, and I hope that no one thinks that, because it's truly not that.